Holy shit. That's actually a good... This is a really
Keep
good
hating
point.
your life then, working class Andy.
Let me wait for this 12-hour dono.
Hello, Stephen. How are you? I am just about to announce that I'm running in 2024, and I outlived my ex-wife and stole my current wife away from a Euro cuck, so I'm doing wonderfully. You should grab the day like I grabbed them by the pussy.
Okay, wait, fuck, I don't remember what I was gonna say. What was I just talking about? Oh, this. If we think that there are people that are paid off by fossil fuel, if a mansion is being paid off by fossil fuel, it's not by much money, right? He's a senator, maybe a couple million. Shouldn't we be able to just buy him off then? Can't we just go do like fundraisers for environmentalists and just like pay off Manchin to vote the way we want him to? Explain why this wouldn't work. If you believe that elections are bought and paid for, explain why that wouldn't work.
I like you guys like them. I like a lot of stuff, and I like a lot of it more like fucking EDM shit sometimes, and I have other tastes. And that album was a cool mix, and it was like a breath of fresh air into what I didn't know Drake did, and I enjoyed it for that. For that effect, I enjoyed it, and to me that's enough to make a good album.
Have you been to a rave, X?
Yeah, I used to go rave all the time when I was 18.
At concerts?
All the time, like crazy amounts.
That's fire. Nah, but I mean, shit.
I used to go to after hours all the time. Things that start at 3 a.m. and end at noon.
Damn. Hell no. What? That's crazy.
That
what the fuck? Wait, 3 in the morning to noon?
They start at 3 a.m. and they close at noon.
Bro, have you heard the story of me doing meth? Bro, I stayed up 7 days. 7 days.
What did you feel?
Green, you've done meth. I like you guys like them. I like a lot of
stuff. Wait, why did he decide to one-up him there? What? Destiny, because Manchin is invested in the coal industry himself? Sure, so just go, like, pay whatever he would get for those investments and pay him more. Environmentalist groups can raise a lot of money. I know these motherfuckers are raising millions of dollars for environmentalist shit. If we can just buy, if senators just respond to people who buy them off, why can't we just buy them off? Let's just raise, instead of doing $1 million for climate change bullshit, why not just like raise $1 million to buy off Manchin and then force him to vote a certain way? If that's how people think it works, right? Wouldn't that be based? Oh, they were just sharing stories. New lore about me? I'm all for defending the right to tell jokes and all without being accused of heinous crimes, but like we all agree that the joke of "I want to rape you" variety are not acceptable anymore. Yes, especially towards a 10-year-old. There is no 10-year-old. Hold on, I have to check. Just checking. Who is the 10-year-old being told "I want to rape you" in this story? Who are they talking about?
They would just say it's a bidding war for politicians, and we could never raise the money needed to compete with fossil fuels.
Why not? We can raise a fuck ton of money. Bernie raised a lot. Didn't Bernie outraise every other fucking person except for Trump? So clearly the will is there. There is the ability to raise the money. God, I hate it when I accidentally strip a log. How fucking annoying. So here's a question. No one is, literally no one is capable of engaging with this question on Twitter, apparently. So here's a question. Yesterday, we watched a Harvard law professor totally own a Republican senator for daring to claim that pregnancy is a women's issue. And she said that's transphobic to say that because not only are women affected, but trans men and maybe even trans women are affected too, depending on how you look at it, I guess. Real voice. If that's the case, and we're talking about pregnancy, does this mean that there are no more women's issues ever? Because that's what it... And then people just keep saying I'm being a TERF or a conservative when I say that. But, like, isn't that the logical conclusion then? Because every women's issue is also going to affect, like, trans men, theoretically. That's... But then everybody on Twitter is just saying I'm trans asking that. But it feels like that's kind of the next logical step. Is that, like, we can never... and I'm trying not to use his language, but it seems like then the turf point is that there are no more women's issues. Because that's what it sounds like. It's trans say it's a woman's issue. You can't say that. Isn't this semantics? Well, the issue is that everybody says that Harvard law professor owned when the Republican senator responded, is an abortion a woman's issue? She's like, well, just because it affects women doesn't mean it's only a women's issue. I don't know if she's aware of this, but she's making an all lives matter argument, right? Like, how many times did you hear people say, you know, like, cops kill white people too. All lives matter. It's not just black people that are affected. It's white people too. It's not just black people. We should just be talking about all of it. And usually the response is like, okay, well, hold on. If every single person wants to air all of their grievances every time something comes up, then you can't really have any individual group airing their grievances ever, you know? And now with the abortion thing, it's like, well, hold on, abortion, that's not a women's issue. That affects trans people too. Well, theoretically, everything affects trans people because they're people and everything affects people. That just seems like such a weird point to bring up. Like calling people the F slur, that's not about gay people. That's not a gay issue because you can call straight people the F slur too. Is that? Their point is that I don't care what their point
Called my
is.
first ban today. I've always been a big supporter of the bear, but a 12-hour for a wheel is too far. Heading to my fish and game office to pick up a bear cage before chat buys them all out on sea.
I'm just telling you to consider what the end result is. The end result is that there are essentially, like literally, there are no more women's issues. We can never say women's issue ever again. If we can't call abortion a women's issue, it feels like we can't call anything a women's issue. Didn't she say that it was still a women's issue in spite of it also? Well, she said we can't call it a women's issue. That's what it sounded like. What's the difference between to affect and to effect? Affecting something is when you do something that like changes or has an effect. It's when you do something that like causes a change to something else. To effect
Can't
something.
you just say primarily a women's issue if you were trying to get your point across?
Obama.
You can have secondary and tertiary subjects, but you'd be addressing who is majority affected.
To effect something usually means like put something in place.
You have the exact time and place.
Can you call poverty a black issue? Not generally, but there are black issues that you can call black issues. And some of those might be black related poverty because there might be special conditions that affect black people, right? So like, for instance, we can affect policy by the way we talk about it publicly, meaning we can change which policy is going to place, and we can effect policy by voting for it. We effect it by bringing it into... Affect is the verb, effect is the noun. That is not true. Number one way, if you ever want to trigger wannabe grammar Nazis on the internet, is effect is a verb as well. You can use effect as the verb, and there will always be some dipshit in the comment section that will call you out for using it incorrectly, but that's not true. You can say something like, we need to effect better policy for trans people. And you'll get a whole bunch of people saying, you mean affect? No, that's not true. Here, affect would be incorrect. You need effect is the verb there. Sometimes I use effect as a verb just because I know there are going to be people in the comment section calling me out for it. And then as soon as I see it, they fall into my trap. Well, actually, dumb fuck.
Are you suggesting uteruses and pregnancies are key to being a woman?
I'm just saying consider the outcome of what you're talking about. That we basically can never, there's no more women's issues. We can't say that ever. Can't we still say mainly women's issue? Well, I don't know. Play back the Holly versus, is it Holly or Hotley? Holly versus Professor.
Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator.
Maybe I guess technically, if I get this a really charitable reading, maybe she's not opposed to calling it a women's issue. She just wants to recognize both. I guess I'd have to hear. I guess actually I would need more commentary. The signs that I were tweeting about earlier today that people were tweeting though were saying like we shouldn't say that like this affects women. We should say it affects people or whatever. Did you see V-Man talking trash? YouTube video linked with no timestamp. Is somebody about to catch a ban?
Of course, it should be noted that like Destiny.
This is a week and a half old.
Frequently and aggressively defends stupid talking points just as often. The difference is that Destiny is really, really good at playing into the comedy of him being wrong.
Okay. Okay. I got like my 2,000 shotgun shells today, guys. You ready for chapter 6? Just kidding, in a video game.